Hello, family. My name is James Trice, and I'm the creator of a podcast called YANA, or You Are Not Alone. You Are Not Alone is a podcast for Black men. It is more than just a podcast, it's a lifeline and a brotherhood. We're here to create a supportive, judgment-free space where Black men can have real, open conversations about what truly matters to us, from family and relationships to community, sports, culture, politics, faith, sex, race, education, and the challenges of everyday life. We dive deep into it all. Whether you're looking for advice, motivation, prayer, or just the comfort of knowing you're not walking this journey alone. Yana is here for you. This is your space to connect, grow, and be heard, because none of us are meant to do life alone. Look for new episodes weekly wherever you get your podcasts. And look for me on Instagram at jbtrice123. Welcome to YANA. Grace and peace, everyone. Welcome to another episode of YANA, You Are Not Alone, a space for Black men to really come together and talk about issues that are important to us, to share our perspective on the things that are happening around the world, to talk uncensored in a judgment-free environment about the issues that matter most to us, to recognize that we don't walk this life journey alone, and that we're never meant to do life alone. So thank you, and again, welcome to this new episode of YANA. Today's guest, we have Ray Seville. Some of you may know who he is. He is a household name here in the Twin Cities, in the state of Minnesota, and probably in other places as well. But I want to welcome Ray to the show. Thank you for joining us, Ray. And so introduce yourself, tell the audience a little bit about you, and then let's get right into the conversation.
Thank you, James. Thank you. My name is Ray Seville. I'm a DJ, well, former DJ. I kind of retired at this moment, but born and raised Minneapolis, Minnesota. I was born in the Sumner Ocean projects to about 7. Then we moved Southeast Minneapolis projects. Um, and then from there, we moved back over north, and the rest is history. Went to Franklin Junior High, Elizabeth Hall, Franklin Junior High, North High School, and then MCC, Minneapolis Community College. I'm the youngest of 7. Um, my mother's from Coffeeville, Kansas, and or Independence, Kansas. I still say it's Coffeeville. My father's from Montreal, Canada. Um, they met by an introduction from one of my aunties and uncles, Uncle Palmer, who's a golfer, and the rest is history. They spent about 30, 40 years together until my father passed. So I am a former DJ, promoter, uh, club promotions, concert promoter, marketing guru, specialist. I've innovated tons and tons of different products into the marketing branding business. From I was the first one to bring hip hop concerts to Iowa, Minnesota. I've also was the first one to bring color flyers to Minneapolis. I was also the first one to bring shape flyers to Minneapolis. Just trying to do a bunch of innovative ways. That was my perspective of trying to be um, bigger than my teacher. My teacher was the best, and at his craft, and I wanted to be 20 times better to show him, hey, thank you for what you taught me. Now I got to do 20 times more better.
Wow. So talk about your introduction into being a DJ. Talk about your DJ work, because it sounds intriguing, and who your teacher was, and really what what really excited you about it. What made you want to go that direction with your life, becoming a DJ?
Well, so that's a funny thing because um, I worked at the Federal Reserve Bank, and on lunch break, I used to walk down Nicollet Mall in in this like 78, 77. Um, and there was this guy who walked past me, had a purple Procaz, the same color as I had on. And he said, "Hey man, nice purple Procaz." And I was like, "Thank you, same to you." And it ended up being Jimmy Jam. And he said, "Hey, what you doing this weekend?" I said, "Nothing." He said, "Why don't you come to this disco track and be a bouncer at the door?" And I was like, "Sure." So
So
he
he never met you before in your life. This your first time
never,
meeting him.
never
Didn't
met
even
him
know.
before.
Did you know who he was?
So at the time, he wasn't the
Oh,
famous
okay.
Jimmy Jam at that time.
Okay.
So but he was a aspiring DJ at that time at a teen disco. But he did play keyboards in everything like that. He wasn't a musician at the time, but I didn't know that part of him. So we were working at this disco track together, and he started out DJing there. And what's crazy is that I watched him spin 3 turntables in the 70s. So
Wow.
78, 79,
Mm-hmm.
77, 78, 79, 80, 3 turntables. And the turntables back then were not quartz lock, they were belt driven. So his timing had to be perfect on each one. He'd use his finger to keep the tempos identical by just touching them. And I say a month or two into it, he added a keyboard and he started spinning with 3 turntables and a keyboard. So you know the famous uh, George Clinton flashlight. Then
Right.
Jimmy Jam would break it down and he would just some 3 turntables, flashlight, 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 and then he would go dun, 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 dun. He would play the keyboard live and without the music in there, without the DJ records in there, and I'm seeing him do this, and I'm like, that's amazing, what he was doing. But I didn't know he was a keyboard player at the time. I'm like, but I
Mm-hmm.
seen him do it, and I'm like, next thing you know, he's doing it on all kind of songs, Flashlight, More Bounce than the Ounce, just all kinds of disco songs back then. Excuse me. Um, I'm usually the quiet type. I don't talk a lot, but he uh um he DJ'd uh Fridays, Saturday, Thursdays at Foxtrot, um, which was Foxtrot and Taste back then, and then the disco
Okay.
track. There was a disco track 1 and a disco track 2. The disco track 1 was out in Egan,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it was an old movie theater, and then disco track 2 was downtown on 8th and 4th, across from the old
Mm-hmm.
Normandy Hotel.
Okay. Yeah.
Club hold
Yeah.
about 800 people, teenagers, and let me tell you, his mixing was out of this world and so far advanced for any DJ at that time. And
Mm-hmm.
what happened was one day we were riding together in my car, and he says, "Hey, I need to go out to Studio 94, which was out McKnight in 94 in St. Paul, so
Mm-hmm.
kind of east of downtown St. Paul." So we drive over there. He gets the turntables from the club and puts them in the back. I think he bought them or something. They got the new quartz lock turntables. He got the old ones. And on our way home, we get pulled over by Prince, and he's in that black Beamer. And Jimmy gets out, talks to him, gets back in. He says, "You can have those turntables in the trunk." And I go, my response was, "What am I gonna do? What am I? Man, I work at a bank. I don't need, I don't need to be a DJ." I'm thinking, I was working at the Federal Reserve Bank at the time, and
Mm-hmm.
so I said, "Okay." That day went on, and then he went to his rehearsals, and then later gone on tour, and then a year later he calls me and goes, "How's it going with you and the turntables?" And I says, "I don't know how to mix. I don't know nothing about music." And he says, "All right." He says, "I'm gonna come over your house and I'm gonna teach you music." And I said, "All right." So he came over my house and he taught me um music structure,
Mm-hmm.
the whole how it all works, the beats per minute, the measures, the bars, the bridge, the breakdown, the intro, outro, um, just the whole
Mm-hmm.
how
That's
songs are
incredible.
structured. I mean, I didn't even know that. You know what I mean? Prior to that, I listened to songs all the time. Didn't know there was an intro, outro, breakdown, bridge, chorus, and there's a 8 count, a 4 count, 8 count, 16 count. I didn't know that. I didn't break it down like that, like how he did. So once he showed me that, he showed me the difference between house music and R&B music, and then old school hip hop, and then R&B, how the difference the
Mm-hmm.
tracks are. And he says you can line them up. You can mix a house song with a hip hop song because the tempos are so far apart. You just
Mm-hmm.
you just do opposite beats and stuff like that. And I learned after he taught me that one day. I I just went up there and just mastered mixing. Just
Wow. Yeah.
stayed in that room and I mastered mixing. And then I mean, and I knew I couldn't be that three turntables and a keyboard player. So
Mm-hmm.
I said I had to be greater than this, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I started throwing house parties. I'm having house parties in it, 400, 500 deep over on Girard and 15th, and then I moved over to 16th and James up the block from
Mm-hmm.
North High. I had a rented a house over there across from the park, North Commons Park. I'd
Mm-hmm.
have 400 people in my basement and two or 300 else
400. That's
in
a
the
lot of
basement.
people.
Right. And what's so crazy is black officers would come to my house, come down and inspect the party, walk back upstairs, talk to me, and go, "Ray, you got too many people in the house. Don't hand out more and more flyers. You can't you can't invite no more people to your crib like this. This is too many." And I mean, he said, "Man, you might as well." One of them just said, "You might as well do a club," And
Mm.
so I don't know what happened, but I from there I went to this place called Harry's Place, Rickershaw, back out
Mm-hmm.
by Studio 94, which was one exit before. So
Mm-hmm.
the Studio 94 was off
Right.
McKnight, and I was at Ruth.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Yes. I know
so
exactly. Oh, yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
Harry's Place, I went and DJ'd out there, Harry's Place, and I became a phenomenal DJ. And I didn't do the three turntables. I just did two turntables and just and plus I learned how to market by handing out flyers. Like
Mm-hmm.
I would hand out 25 invites to my house party, and I'd get 300 people. So I was like,
Mm.
so I started designing flyers. I was,
So you made a name for yourself doing
oh
people
yeah, I was
and to like
branding. Yeah.
resonate. People were like, okay, and they knew
Oh,
your flyers. They said we got to go to this party. So you must have been incredible. Was
oh,
let me ask this: was had Tyme the group Tyme began because I know you said you and
yeah.
Jimmy Jam
Yeah.
were driving and Prince pulled you all to the side and he got out and talked to Prince for a few minutes and he got back and he said you can have those. Had the group Tyme had been formed and
They were already
formed
on tour.
maybe?
That so like when he gave me the turntables, he went on tour for a year and then
Okay.
came back. So he was on his first year tour with the time, and then he came back, got taught me my lessons, and disappeared again. So
Wow.
I didn't see him for almost maybe two years or so because he came
Okay.
to one of the house parties, and
Oh.
I had Jimmy Jam, Mike Jones. Uh, he used to play football at the U of M, and he was
Mm-hmm.
also a DJ. Dale Morrow, who was also a DJ and went to the U of M. He's a Kappa. Um, Cowboy, Q Bear. Um, there was all me and a couple other DJs. And what's so strange is that Michael Mack and Tim Wilson were were not old enough to even come out the house, but they were in my
Mm-hmm.
window talking about, man,
Uh-huh.
in my basement window talking about, man, let us in, man, let us. I was like, I remember them as 15, 16 year olds trying to get in my parties.
Wow.
So yeah,
Well,
I
that's
mean,
incredible.
yeah. So Tim always tells me that story. Man, you wouldn't let us in. I says, you know what, Tim, I got that same story because I went to a couple of people's houses back in the day, and they wouldn't let
Right.
me in their parties either. And that was Sam Simmons.
Ah. No
He had the
Sam.
South Side parties. Oh my God!
Yeah,
I
Sam
pulled up.
Simmons. Wow.
Yeah, I pulled up. I pulled up my Cadillac Seville, and it didn't
Mm.
matter. He was like, "No, man, young brother, you too young for this party." They just tapped me on my shoulder.
But that's
That,
Sam said, yeah. So let me ask this. So you said that you retired. Now
mhm.
you're not doing DJing anymore. Yeah. When did you retire and why?
So I start like I said, I started in '79,
Hmm.
and then I want to say, um, let's see, it's been the last time I physically DJ was probably 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay.
I only DJ like when somebody don't show up or you can't get a DJ. I still have some, you
Okay.
know. So you got to be prepared. I am the
Right.
best, at the new stuff, but I still know my old school funk, R&B,
Right.
classic hip hop and stuff like that. I still got all that stuff, and I did update to
Hmm.
the controller with the MP3s and stuff, but I still love my CDs and vinyl a lot more. So
Okay. So
yeah,
that's wow. You talking about wow? That's what almost 30, almost 40 something years, right?
about 44, somewhere in the 40,
Wow.
42.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to retire?
Um. Well, after a while you get to carrying equipment so long and bending over, not every place is conducive to a 6'4" DJ, because when I started
Yeah.
spinning at South Beach, the booth was only 6'2".
Oh,
I
okay.
had to spread my legs to stand at the DJ stand.
Oh,
So
that had to be
or,
difficult.
or hunched over all night.
Oh, wow.
So that takes a toll on your back, and then plus carrying equipment. Back then, our equipment was bigger. We had bigger speakers, bigger amps, heavier turntables, um, and I was just always, always make sure I had the right equipment. I wouldn't. I mean, I started so right after during the flight time era. So when I got hired at flight time, which was 88, 88, 80, yeah, 88, 88. Um, I started seeing these email things when they got the Mac computers, and what I did was I was like, "Ooh, email." I said, "Oh, I can contact people across the United States." And then I came across this student union because I was DJing at one of the
Hmm.
colleges, and I said, "Oh, I bet there's a student union at every university university
Right.
so I I searched all the information. I got emails from every university in the five-state region, and I emailed everybody a flyer and saying I come DJ their parties, and lo and behold, they replied.
I
And
bet they did.
me and the three DJs we were on tour for 3 years straight, James. But
Wow.
I've DJed at the U of M two terms with the Kappas, 9 years apiece. I
Mm.
did I did Drake Relays 9 years. I did Pan African Conference in Mankato 9 years. I did Duluth and Saint Scholastica 9 years. So you imagine and also Morris, Minnesota was one of my biggest customers.
Okay. Okay.
University of Minnesota Morris.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, we were up there every 2 months. It seemed like every university was. I mean, it just exploded when I sent them emails. I was at Stout, Madison,
Mm.
um, um, River Falls. I mean, just
Mm.
nonstop. But,
Mm.
but Drake Relays is one of my all time favorite DJing places.
Okay.
It was every year we did the Drake Relays, and it wasn't the Cadillac Seville and all the equipment. I actually went and got rented a van. They paid me enough. I rented a van and got concert speakers,
Wow.
and I set up concert speakers inside their student union. And you talking about one bumping party because the sound system was so loud that the the fluorescent lighting, the aluminum around
Mm-hmm.
the lightings was rattle
Mm-hmm. Oh wow. Okay.
every time the bass would hit.
Mm-hmm. Every time the bass would hit. Wow.
And one of the well, I shouldn't say one. The dean came over to one of the events, and he walks up to me with his face and goes, "Hey man, can you turn it down a little bit? I'm 3 blocks away. I can hear you in my office."
Oh. 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 That was
And
loud.
but he walked in to like 1,500, 2,000 students partying, and I mean they were on everything in the room.
Mm.
I mean, from the stage to the tables to the chairs. I mean, this was, I mean, those were legendary parties for me. I mean, because
That sounds exciting though, man.
uh,
You
yeah,
know, why did you like? I'm married you 40 some years. That's a long time.
yeah.
Why did you decide I've got to go? And then you talked about you worked at Flight Time. Talk about your work at Flight Time Records,
So, um,
Flight Time Studios.
Flight Time Studios. So
Yes.
well, Terry would always see me out promoting, handing out flyers, being outside the Riverview Gate,
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the driveway, I should say.
Terry
And
Lewis.
yeah, so
Mm.
and he one day he stopped me, and he said he stopped at the entryway, and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, I'm promoting." He said, "No." He said, "What do you do for work?" I said, "Just promoting, DJ and whatnot." And he said, "You still flip houses like you did when you was in high school?" So I used to help this guy gut houses when I was in high school,
Okay.
side hustle. And I said, "No, I haven't done that in a while." He says, "I got some work for you." So, and he said, "Come see me at the studio on Nicollet, and I'm gonna take you to the new studio on Edina." I said, "Okay, cool." So I go out there and meet him at the 43rd and Nicollet, or is it? Yeah, I think it's 43rd or 44th and Nicollet, the old
Yeah,
studio.
that's where isn't that where Janet did
Yep, the
her
Control
first
album.
the
Yep.
Control album at that
Hmm.
address there. Yes.
Yeah, he took me out to the new building, opened the doors, and he said, "I need you to gut this warehouse, 15,000 square feet." It was an office and a big giant warehouse in back with bathrooms and everything and all kind of closets and ceilings in it. And he said, "I need you to gut this warehouse. Can you do it?" And I said, "Yeah, I can do it." And he said, "All right." He said, "Job's yours." And I started the next day, ordered a dumpster, and put a dumpster at both. There was two docks. I put dumpsters at
Mm-hmm.
both docks, and I was just me and a sledgehammer and
You had
broom.
anybody else working with you?
Nobody,
Just you?
just me. 15,000 square foot. That Flight
That's
Time
that's
studio.
big.
Yeah, I cleaned out the old duct heating units. I mean everything, all the way to strip it down to everything, electrical, everything. So, and then I had got floodlights with extension cord, and I just kept cleaning it out, throwing it in the dumpster, and it took me 3 months. And at the end of the 3 months, then he invited the guys up from Westlake Audio, and he told the guy, he says, "Yeah, I need you to teach him everything about putting studio together." And then, as you know, they taught me each level of soundproofing and design and everything. They showed me the blueprints and all the duct work and all the insulation and
Mm.
soundboarding you have to do. Everything, each wall had a wall. So each flooring had another flooring, to it. So it's floating studio. So the studio wasn't even touching the ground. So it's like on top of sheetrock, soundboard, rubber, plywood, just and then more, just like 6 layers before it even touched the actual studio was inside of a
Mm-hmm.
floating room. Even the walls are the same way. And we worked with rock wool, which is high fiber glass with,
Mm-hmm.
you could still see some of the pop bottles, brown pop bottles, melted
Mm-hmm.
fiber in there and stuff. um Cut that stuff and put it in there, and caulking and how to soundproof. They taught me how to soundproof lighting, walls, um l- conduit, everything, from the floor to carpet, how to select how the angles and sound works. And this guys, I mean, they were great. They were, I mean, phenomenal. And what we did was um and, at the end of that, building the studio, I was, I was still doing parties at the same time. As a matter of fact, I was doing
You was
warehouse.
busy.
So I was doing warehouse parties over by Hamlin University at a guy named Justin Mann from St.
The
Paul.
name, ooh, that name sounds familiar.
Justin Mann from St. Paul. He had a warehouse over in Energy Park. He had a
Okay,
carpet
I know where that
warehouse.
is. Okay.
So he had a front office, and I ran into him, and he said, "Man, I got a warehouse. What you want to do?" I said, "Man, let's throw some parties." Just throw these late night parties starting at midnight called Mad, mainly all dancing after dark. And so I would work at the
What is it
studio.
called again?
Mad,
Uh-huh. What does it mean?
mainly
Okay.
all dancing after dark.
Wow. Wow.
And so I pass out these flyers.
Hmm.
People would come, start at midnight and dance from midnight to 7 in the morning. And then he would open up the garage door and let all the smoke and heat out. And people would walk outside, and we would party in there. And all the college students from Hamlin would come over.
Right.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
his
that's right
kids,
around the corner.
yeah,
That's
his
right there.
kids, yep.
Right.
His kids worked there and helped him collect money and sell pop and stuff and sandwiches and
Wow.
food. Oh man, we had 700, 800 people in that warehouse all night long.
So look, man, we got like, man, 5 minutes left. Man, there's so many questions I have for you,
No,
man. And I do want to hone in on this question about
okay,
what made you decide to like leave it all and what are you doing now? But one of the most important questions I have is you were really mentored by black men, right? These
exactly.
black men that took you and
Hmm.
Jimmy Jam, who taught you how to
Hmm.
DJ, right? And mix and turntables
Yep.
and then Jimmy Jam who I'm sorry, Jimmy Jam who taught you that, and then Terry Lewis who brought you in into the studio to got the studio and then brought you into that and then brought men in there to teach you how to put the studios and stuff together. I mean all that. What
Right.
how did that impact your life? These black men really mentoring you into being who you are today. Um,
Ye-
Incredible household name here in
Yeah.
Minnesota, DJ, and all
Right.
over I would say all over the Midwest.
You,
How did
it,
that
you know,
impact your life?
what's really crazy, James? I think about it all the time. I says, I got a lesson. I got lessons for free, and I got training and homeschooled from two professionals and beyond. Because I was also Jesse Johnson's bodyguard for 2 years
See,
and did tours,
wow,
and so I learned from Jimmy and Terry both that there's no such thing as no in the music business. So
hmm,
learning, I mean, they taught me stuff like you can buy a car at midnight or 3 in the morning if you know somebody in the dealership,
mm-hmm,
or you can get your car fixed anywhere. They'll come out to you. You just got to have the money to come. You know what I mean? So,
mm-hmm,
and being able to have deadlines that can be broken. Like, oh, we need this Janet. So this Janet tape, it didn't make the deadline for regular shipping to get to LA. Um, can you get this package to LA? And I'm like, yeah,
mm-hmm,
I can get to LA because they taught me there was no such thing as word no.
hmm,
And that's something I've always stuck to. Terry said, there's no such thing as no in the music business. Is how much does it cost? And I if I couldn't get it on a plane, I got on a plane. I would take a package and deliver it to California or to New York, or find a charter. Somebody was
wow,
chartering going to there's a private airline out there. People would go different cities. Anybody going to New York? Is anybody going to LA? And hey, I need this tape delivered. There's a Janet Jackson tape, or you know, a remix for Mary J. Blige. We
mm-hmm,
had deadlines on stuff like that. They allowed me to be uh, me. I mean, I was producing it, and when they were on vacation, they gave me the whole studio. So from the time they left for winter Christmas vacation, and then come
mm-hmm.
back until time for kids to go back to school, 2 3 weeks later, I was in there producing all kind of local artists, and they,
Wow,
yeah, I was
that's
learning,
incredible.
yeah. So I bring young producers in with me, and and we produced local people, and you know, it was a lesson, life lesson to me. So to me, I appreciate them giving me the opportunity, and I always um gave back because I trained over at least over 40 DJs just in
Yeah,
my
I was going
time.
to ask that. How have you paid that forward? How have you paid it back?
Well, I
They gave
mean,
you,
yeah,
and now,
yeah, I paid it back by I've trained tons of DJs, street promoters, uh, graphic design people. I mean, people watch me. I've designed my own flyers back. I used to be at Kinko's at the U of
mm,
M, 2, 3 in the morning, using a Merlin to type out the words and tape them on a flyer. Some of my early flyers are my designs. They're in the historical society. So,
mm,
so to me giving all my DJs the opportunity to come DJ with me, to travel, to you know, to learn how to mix, I taught all kind of people, just regular people. Just, hey, you want to learn how to
mm,
mix? I'll teach you, because someone taught me and they gave to me, with no strings attached, and that's
mm.
and that's important to that we
It
give back
is.
to the young people. And because Jimmy is 1 year older than me, but he gave me an opportunity that I never. He gave me a couple opportunities,
Of course.
bouncer and
Yes.
DJ, and work
Right.
for them and travel the world, you know, and they utilize my talents after that with the mint condition. So
Mm-hmm.
I promoted the show with mint condition performing along with the Rhyme Sayers at First
Mm-hmm.
Avenue, and they signed mint condition that night. 2 years later, they wanted to put the album out. They needed a tour name because they had this guy named Dred Scott on A&M Records, and Mint Condition were
Mm-hmm.
going to go out on his college tour, but they didn't know how to name it. So Terry said the record company's going to call you, because they knew I was a marketing guru. I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
I was a marketing guru, but they sent me the names, and I took the names, and I did like this. I intertwined them like this and came up with Dred Scott Mint Condition sideways.
Right.
Two times the Flavor of Hip Hop and R&B tour, college tour, right? And sent it back to the label. They loved it. And then 2 weeks, like 2 weeks later, they had all the material printed up. They said, "Well, we ain't got nobody to promote this." So
So there you go.
here comes
Yes.
Terry, calls me again and say, "Man, label's gonna send you out on the road." So I went on a black college tour in the South. My first time solo in the South.
Wow.
You know.
Man, we got like we don't have man, we got just a few minutes left, man. I do
Oh,
want to ask
part
this
two, part
because
two.
yeah, we're going to do part two for
Yeah,
sure. We're going to do
yeah.
part two. We need to do that soon. But as we end, unfortunately, right now, because there's so many questions. There's so
Mhm.
many questions I have for you. What final message would you say to black men who were in the same situation that you were in back then when Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis and others gave you an opportunity? What would you say to black men who are and black young people, black young boys who are in the position that you were in back then? What would you say to them as we close today?
Well,
What would you leave with them?
I would tell them, if somebody offers you an opportunity, seize that opportunity, because the simple fact is you never know if you're going to get it another one. And when you get that opportunity, make sure you excel 2 or 3 times better than what the person that did it before, so that they always remember you, because you want to leave your impression on that same position or trail, or you want them to know you were here, because I'm trust me, I left a trail. Everything you see going on now with these clubs, bars, DJs, they promoters, because every time you hear a whiteout,
Yeah.
Ray
You think of
Seville brought it
you think of
first.
Ray Seville, you do.
The
Yep.
blackout, I
Yep.
invented it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I invented the blackout, first blackout in the country. So for people to just do your take seize the opportunity and give it your 100, and go beyond.
Wow. Thank you. Let me ask you one more question. I know I said that was the last one, but I do have one
Yeah.
more. What is a
Okay.
favorite quote or book or song or something that has inspired your life and still is an inspiration to you today?
I do have a favorite quote. Um, One of my favorite quotes is, if you're going to open a business and not advertise, you're just a hoarder.
Oh, oh, wow. Okay. Well, thank you, brother. Wow. Brother, we got to have you come back. We need to do part two of this.
I
There's so
got
many
you.
questions I have for you. So would you
Yeah,
be willing to come back and do part two?
absolutely.
Okay, I
Absolutely.
appreciate that. To Yana, you've been listening to and watching another episode of Yana. You are not alone. A place for Black men to talk uncensored about issues that matter most to us. And as we close today, I just want to remind you to go to my YouTube page, Yana James Trice. Like, subscribe, follow, share. But until next time, see you then. And remember, we're not meant to do life alone. Grace and peace, everyone. Until next time. Yana is here for you. This is your space to connect, grow, and be heard because none of us are meant to do life alone.